So when you were in Quentin, did you get hooked up with the Blue Notes?
I became a Blue Note in the county jail.
Okay, in the county jail. Okay, so you took that to prison. What was the relationships with the Vanguards and the CCO?
By the time I hit the yard, by the time I got to prison, like the Vanguards was on their way out.
For the dime moves in the lokes, for the 6-4s on spokes, for the OGs that did a dime, came back around on parole, for the homegirls with the scrap game, little homies that gang bang, from Pelican Bay to YA, rearrange your mind frame. Yeah, I know what you've been through, shit you had to go tend to. Your mama gave birth on the turf, I know them killers you kin to. This for the lost generation, broke as hell, man.
Lifting weights and I was on swole, they start calling me Big Miz.
Original Stutter Box, Eastside 5, who's Pavlo, Bishop, Mid City Gangster Bloods.
Kev Mac video, you know, this is for sure. Kev Mac video, open your soul.
This is the beginning.
Dominant thing as far as Crips went were CCOs, and we had heard so much about them, but from my indoctrination, from my homeboys and from my older peers, it was like, okay, no, you know what I'm saying? Basically, no enemy, you know what I'm saying? Don't listen to them. Puppet masters, don't do it. So it was like, okay, so other than like some dudes who went to the pen and learned this, I came from the county jail with a certain mindset toward them cats already. You know what I'm saying? It was like, you know what I'm saying? I don't like them. They not right because of what I was told. Then once I hit the system, between Soledad, you know what I'm saying, Folsom, not Folsom, but Soledad, Pelican Bay, and the other prisons I went to, different situations that transpired, it solidified my thoughts on them cats. So it's like, okay, but as time went on, the realness shone through because some of the tactics and things they were doing was really what brought about their ultimate demise. We as Blue Notes, we chipped away at them too, but their internal struggles is what brought them down.
Tretch, Evil, Tookie. What, you have any interaction with them dudes?
They were on death row, and I wasn't. I ain't never been on death row.
Right. So going to the hole or them coming to the hole, y'all never crossed paths?
I'm. You know what? To be honest with you, I never crossed paths with them. Oh. You know what I'm saying? I never crossed paths with them.
Who was some of the CCOs who you felt like y'all had to look out for, or was a threat to the Blue Notes?
As far as a threat or look out for, we kind of were like, when I hit the system, it was kind of like an all points bulletin on, you know what I'm saying, watching these cats. And as far as them being a threat individually, I'm not gonna put it on a certain one of them as an individual threat. I could say their organization at one time as a whole were an individual threat because there was so many of them. You know what I'm saying? And things were, we weren't as deep as they were at one time. And Blue Magic had just went about their way, and it was just us. And we weathered the storm.
So once Blue Notes form and CCO is getting thick, was Vanguards playing the back, or did they play out? What happened to the Vanguards?
No recruitment. They eventually played out on their own. Some of them went about trying to come back to what we would call your birth hood. Some of them came back to their birth hood and eventually just went about their way. They didn't. The recruitment wasn't there for them. No one really had a lot of interest in what they were talking about at the time because as the years went by, it was so many Crips coming into prison, and all they would hear about coming through the county jail was Blue Notes, CCO, Blue Note, CCO. So those that came in that got indoctrinated in the county jail, that's all they were coming in. Wasn't nobody in the county jail talking about no Vanguard this, Vanguard that. You know what I'm saying? you got up on them as you would talk to certain dudes and learn your history and learn what was going on in the system before we start getting there. So you would hear about them and, see certain dudes. You'd be like, oh, he was, stuff like that. But by the time I start coming, it was like they pretty much non-existent.
So do you think, from your experience, do a lot of those guys that get up under paperwork kind of hide their affiliation from the public?
I can honestly say when I first got indoctrinated into it, it was like a rule of standard to not, let it be known. Especially for Blue Nose. It was you weren't supposed to flaunt it, tattoo it, speak on it, talk about it. You know what I'm saying? And it was a lot of Blue Nose that were around that no one even knew that they were Blue Nose because we did not broadcast it like that. Now, if you have to be on a certain yard or a certain hole and seen exercise or whatever, yeah. But it was a lot of homies that was there, that was involved, that you didn't know about till later years. As the years went on, and we became bigger and bigger and bigger. Okay, the ban on talking about it was kind of lifted, and it was like, okay, if you a Blue Note, you know what I'm saying? I got it tattooed on me, and if you're a Blue Note, you're a Blue Note. And the only thing that you probably had to put up with at that time was homies from your set kind of turning against you. You know what I'm saying? Because if they didn't understand it and didn't really know about it, they would like, man, you know what? You a what? You what? Oh man, I don't want nothing to do with you. You know, man, you know what I'm saying? You kind of went through that.
So what happens when you run? Do you know Monster Kody?
Know him very well. Was in Y with him.
So here you are in prison, and y'all from different stuff, but y'all hoods get along and y'all know each other. What do you do? How do you carry on a friendship with a guy that's from another organization at this point?
To be honest with you, people handle certain things certain way. Me personally, when I embraced what I was about, I embraced it wholeheartedly, 100%. And if you weren't that, or if you were an enemy to that, I really didn't pay a lot of attention to what kind of relationship we might have had before. It was like, okay, I'm this, you that. Here we go. And I never me and Monster, we never really got into it about it. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
You can hear me?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we never really got into it about it. After he wrote his book, and a lot of people read his book, and he said that he had renounced being CCO, and that he was what was that? NAR, New African Republic,
mm-hmm.
New Republic mm-hmm. of Africa, or New Africa, something militant. Right. We had heard about. We're like, well, okay, well, cool. He's no longer this, which kind of served him good because we ended up in Chino West or East, wherever the violators yard was. We was on a violation together, and I had a homie there from Raymond. I'm not gonna mention his name. He was a part of what I was a part of. He kind of like, okay. Anyway, he was like, Monster on the yard. I'm like, okay, what's up? Well, he's CCO. I'm like, what he say? Well, what are we gonna hit him? I'm like, well, cuz is not CCO no more. He's a New African Republic. So he was like, well, let's find out. I was like, all right. So, we was going down the stairs and Monster was coming up, and I'm like, what's up, Monster? What's up, cuz? He like, well, what's up, Tone? I'm like, cuz, you still CCO? He like, no, what I'm saying, I'm a part of New African Republic. I'm like, oh, okay. All right, well, cool. We left it at that. He went his way, we went ours.
Mm-hmm. Let's go back to the streets for a moment. 88 Avalon Gardens. Y'all was tight with them? Did you hang out in the projects?
Oh, yeah. Those are the homies right there. For years, you know, we did our thing and they did theirs. Our alliance came together in YA, and matter of fact, me and Big Devil from 8-8, me and him are the ones that brought the two sets together. Sitting there playing dominoes one day, and I was like, you playing dominoes, slap a bone. I'm like, on Avalon. And so the homie would slap a bone, and he was like, yo, on Avalon. I'm like, so I thought of, I'm like, cuz, yo, Avalons, we Avalons, why we don't really kick it? He was like, well, shoot, cuz, I don't know. I say, you know what? When me and you get out, I say, cuz, I'm coming down to the Avalon Guards. I'm gonna bring the homies down there, and we gonna hook up. He was like, okay. And when I got out, that's exactly what I did. We went down to the Avalon Gardens. Everybody kicked it, went to talking, and we hooked up. But I hear a lot of people on Facebook when they do certain documentaries, Jamel Barnes created Avalon. No, that's a lie. Jamel Barnes might have had something to do with 8-8 Avalon, but he didn't have nothing, period, to do with 5 Trey, 11-6, or 40th Street Avalons, period.
Thanks for that clarification, man. Appreciate that. But the consensus in the Avalon Gardens is that Jamel started them?
That's what a lot of people say. You're not going to find them say it. If you talk to some of the 8-8s, they not going to say Jamel started it. They're going to say Jamel was there when it started. But they going to give you a host of names who were influential in starting Avalon Garden Crip, because the Avalon Gardens was there already forever. And but as far as when they started cripping, they gonna say he was instrumental in it, but they gonna give you other names too.
Right. Good looking out on that info. So can you tell us what the A line is? Explain the A line.
Okay, when 11-6 Avalons first came out, instead of them just saying the whole Avalon word out, they would just say A-Line. A-Line is only an abbreviation for Avalon Crip. That's just abbreviation for saying Avalon.
Got you. Let's see. So back to the Blue Notes and CCO. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
What was the purpose of Blue Notes? When they indoctrinated you, what did they tell you the reason for being a Blue Note was?
It's it's 2001, and a lot of stuff that was going on back then is kind of old, but still in all, I can't sit here and do like what a lot of other people did. Is some stuff I can sit here and talk about, is some stuff I can't. But now a lot of people, they were like, well, why did you become a Blue Note? Because when I started cripping, cripping is all I knew. That's what I wanted to be. That's what I became. And that's what I love. And that's what I still love today. And the ideologies of Blue Notes were to bring Crips back to its natural form. All that extra, stuff that, right today, you hardly see anybody throw C's up. They gonna throw their set up. They gonna throw their street. They gonna throw up how to diss someone else. But as far as just throwing a C up, you don't see that nowadays. But that was the essence. That was the platform of Blue Notes, to bring Crip, back to greatness at that time, to bring Crip back to the essence of what it was when it started. And I embraced it when it was brought to me, I embraced it wholeheartedly. Simple, simple as that.
That's the answer I was looking for. So you answered it whether you wanted to or not. That's what I was looking for.
Okay.
So I understand why Blue Notes formed, and I understand that basically y'all wanted unity. Is it true that when you looked at CCO, in your mind you seen certain sets from CCO, like Compton Crips, 60s, like? Okay,
well, when you okay, it was like an unknown. It was like an unwritten rule. You had two main sets that was the backbone of CCO, as well as you had two main sets that was the backbone of Blue Note. And as far as we were concerned, 60s and Comptons were the backbone of the Blue Notes. Of the Can you hear me? Hold on.
Yeah, I
Excuse
hear
me.
you.
I don't. Okay. Anyway, no. Excuse me. I said no. 60s and Comptons were the backbones of the CCO, and Avalons and Raymonds were the backbones of the Blue Notes. Now you had a myriad of different sets mixed in on both sides, but that was kind of like the unwritten rule. Because like when you would come to prison and you tell somebody, man, where you from, homie? Oh, I'm from Avalon. They might not say it to your face, but in the back of their mind, oh, he a Blue Note. Especially you, where you from Raymond. They gon' automatically consider you a Blue Note. The same as with 6-0s and Comptons.
What's the history of the relationship between Avalon and Raymond's?
We didn't really have a history on the streets at all. You know, they were too far to the west. Our bond came about through paperwork in prison, pretty much.